I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10. So today is episode 50, and of course that means it is World Download Day. This world download at this point is huge, including things such as a massive castle, completely set up and integrated applied energistics system that is in an underground sewer, powered by a fusion reactor that will auto start on world join, and also a fully functional factory room that is housing all of the modern industrialization stuff all the way up to quad fuel rods. So if this is something you're interested in, be sure to check out the Discord, and if you're already a supporter of any tier, whether that is on Patreon, on Twitch, here as a YouTube member, or as a Discord premium member, be sure to hop on over to the Discord, get everything linked up over there, and gain access to the World Downloads channel. And guys, I look forward to seeing you guys playing around with this world. So with that being said, it's now time to get on with today's episode. So yes, speaking of today's episode, you may have noticed there's a tree on top of my head, because today we're going to be diving into the productive trees mod. As I've spent a lot of time working on a whole bunch of this tech side of this mod pack, I think today we kind of can relax a little bit, build a nice cozy area, and we can start to breed trees. Yeah, that sounds kind of odd, but we are going to make it work, and I'm going to show you the best way to go about doing it. First, before we get into the trees, I've got a front area in front of my castle to kind of change and modify. I want to make this a setup so that way I can have all of the trees that I do breed sort of lined up in an area and kind of on the face of the whole castle. I think this is going to look really cool. Now I'm thinking the size of this area, I'm wanting to go like one block out from the center of these pillars. And so one block out will give me enough space to give myself a nice little border here. But I think I'm going to need to, well, phone a friend for some help. And that friend is going to be courtesy of the builder. Ah, good old friend here. And so with the help of the builder, I should be able to define an area, specifically like a cylinder. And I want that cylinder to be like the perfect size to fill in this area. So it's going to take a little bit of trial and error, but I kind of want this to be a rounded out space that wraps around. So on this cylinder, it is taking a little bit of trial and error, but this is something that I really love to do with the builder. For example, I'm using my support view, I'm going in here and I'm setting the value, and I've ended up finding that 43 is right about the size that I want this to be, a 43 by 43. Now the height, that is honestly just going to be dependent on clearing out these trees. So if I go ahead and I raise this up, let's say to 25. We just have to make sure that this is also raised up a few blocks. So I'm going to have to continue playing with the support and play around with that offset value with the bottom down here, just kind of moves the entire shape. And so eventually, if I get this right, like 15, we just keep playing with the values, I'll end up having this fit in exactly where I want it. Now this is a solid, so just keep in mind that this is actually a full solid and will clear out everything that resides with inside of it. Unless you, of course, you set this to be a hollow. But in my case, I'm going to be setting it like this. So yeah, I got to keep bringing this down until I get this exactly where I want it. It does look like that is still a little bit too much. Let's bring this up to like 9. And you're just kind of getting a sneak peek as to how I typically define my areas like this. The builder is such a good tool for stuff like such. So perfect. It looks like right about here is good. I need to bring this down about 3, it looks like. So down 3, and we'll put this at like, I don't know, we can put it at 9. I think 9 is exactly 3. And so when I take a look at this, this is going to clear an entire area and it's going to be round. But I think I want to bring this back a little bit. I don't know, this could be enough, but yeah, I'm thinking bringing this back might shape things up a little bit. I want to get it back to about this position right here. And so I'll just subtract like 5 blocks or so. And let's see, did that get it exactly where I wanted? I gotta go one more. So like -6 on that value there and -6, and voila. Perfect. I think this is exactly in the position where I want it. Yeah, it's about 11 blocks off this way, 11 blocks away out this direction, and 11 blocks out in this direction. So now for the magic. I don't want it to break any of these blocks that I have nearby. So I'm gonna have to set some values here inside of a filter card to specify, hey, only do like grass, for example. So grass, I think I can drag grass in. No, we can't. We have to use grass here and also dirt. And I'm just going to set a filter and tell it what to break and not to worry about anything else. And honestly, just a little bit of fingers crossed that it's just going to do dirt here. Put the filter inside of this, put a gate on here, and I think we're ready to go. I just got to give this a lever and I guess a chest, just to kind of make sure. Let's actually do a barrel, and then I can put all of the contents inside of like a diamond barrel. Yeah, that should work. So I'll slap that on top, give it a little bit of power and a lever. And as soon as I turn this on, this should be ready to rock and roll. I think. Yeah, it is working. Oh no. Okay, so it took all of the dirt and stone from my setups here. It'll be an easy fix. I just have to fill it back in with stone. But at least it is clearing out everything that I wanted it to. So perfect. Now with that done, I have this nice, beautiful little courtyard area. And on the outside here, I think is where I'm going to handle my productive trees. So I think this is starting to wrap up and look pretty darn good. So these areas right here are what's going to contain our trees as we start to quote unquote breed them. As like I said, we're going to be getting a little bit into the productive trees mod. And it's not exactly what you might think, where if you place two trees next to each other, then eventually they'll pollinate and breed. Well, kind of. So now, why do I need to get into productive trees? Well, one, there's a lot of really cool blocks that we can actually get and use in builds, which I think is going to be kind of cool also to decorate this area with, including all of the cool leaves. But we actually need this sapling right here for the Altamont Star. I'm going to butcher this. I think it's pronounced Socotra. I'm going to try my best to remember that. I suffer from this thing called dyslexia. You might have heard it. And well, if I've butchered anything in the past, that might be to blame. And also the pressure of recording also makes this even worse for me. So I am sorry about that if I do butcher things and that drives you a little bit bonkers, but it is what it is, and I can't really fix it. And once I say something wrong as well, I can never like unsee it and unsay it that way. And I really suffered with that when I was playing around with the modern industrialization mod. Sorry. So yes, we're going to need the Socotra Dragon sapling. I believe I'm saying that right. Now, it does look like it tells us the configurations of the trees, and all of this basically has a progression where we need to breed two types of trees together in a certain way, which we'll talk about here in a second. But we need to breed them together, and then each of those trees have their own progression. But thankfully, this isn't like too crazy. I broke this recipe down, and to be able to get this particular setup, we really only need these four different modded like saplings, these four productive trees saplings. And to get them, they just require the simplistic breeding of like either them with another productive tree, or like a productive tree and a vanilla sapling, or just the vanilla saplings themselves. So yeah, I mean, all of these basically come from one central sapling. Essentially, we're going to need a teak sapling, and we're also going to need a balsa sapling, and the balsa sapling requires the teak. So teak looks to be like the first things that we need to get set up, and that is going to be a dark oak sapling with jungle saplings. Now, the breeding of these trees aren't exactly what you might think. They do require some vanilla bees in order to do this, and you can just set the vanilla bees out and they'll do their thing, and they will go between the trees and pollinate, so you do need beehives. But I actually want to go about this a little bit differently. See, in this quest here, thankfully, we get given a pollen sieve right off the bat. And we also get given a book, which talks a little bit more about the productive trees. But this pollen sieve for our advanced beehives is kind of nice and is going to allow us to really progress much faster than you would by default without having that upgrade available. Well, I guess it wouldn't be too bad considering that they do just use regular vanilla saplings technically to craft it, but still, using this upgrade right here is going to really jumpstart how quickly we can start using our actual bees to breed the trees. Oh my God, I'm really starting to feel like I am the Lorax at this point. Well, minus all of the industrial stuff that's happening under the base. Ignore that. Now, of course, if you haven't already gone to the Bumble Zone, do so, as this is a great place to just scout out a ton of different bees, and we are going to need regular bees. This is a great place to just scour the skies to get plenty of them. So now let's go ahead and grow ourselves a dark oak tree. Now I think that I have the growing conditions here to hopefully support this. Need a little bit of bone meal, ramp that up, perfect, and we have ourselves a dark oak tree. Now what I want to do is underneath here, I actually want to place my beehive right here. So I'm going to use my advanced beehive, place it like so, and then right on top the expansion box so I can put more bees in. And then on the front, or directly below it, I'm going to place the feeding slab down here. So I'm putting regular bees in here. These just require like poppies, like regular flowers, any type. So I will put a simple flower in here. And then we need the productivity upgrades. And I'm thinking, yeah, we need like 3 of them for right now. So I'll put all of those inside, and this will allow us to simulate our bees working. And then I'm going to put also the pollen sieve upgrade in here to hopefully get some pollen, since it is also near this. I would assume that this all works, and let's hope that that's the case by putting some regular bees in. Now we need to get pollen, as that is what's going to jumpstart the entire process. So with that all set up, it's time to accelerate this bad boy. And let's see, is this going to provide regular pollen? It doesn't exactly look like it, or at least yet it has not. There we go. So yes, you can jumpstart by accelerating. Okay, so now that we have a little bit of this pollen, that's where things really going to have to change, because we're going to need to use this pollen to upgrade our bees. And perfect. Productive trees is now done. Not exactly, but kind of. Like, this is honestly the biggest part of the productive trees mod right here. So it says dark oak leaves. These are the ones that we got from the tree that it is connected to, or the leaves that it's connected to. So we're getting these dark pollen, and then these pollen right here are just, you know, random. These we all need to use to upgrade all of the bees that are inside of here now, because the real bee that we want is not the vanilla bee. No, it's the allergy bee. Yes, our dreaded enemy, the allergy bee. But we're going to be using them as our friend in today's video. Yeah, so apparently like these bees are like going to collect all of the pollen from the trees so that way they don't affect us. So yeah, it's going to be nice, right? It's going to make the air much cleaner for us. So now back in our little bee incarceration area, we should be able to now use the pollen to change the bee. Oh, not that particular bee. That's a Neapolitan bee apparently. All right, we'll put it on this bee, right? This is a regular bee, right? Okay. I feel like it is changing the bee, but it's not at the same time. It's like its AI has stopped working. Yeah, I have no idea what was going on there. I still don't know what's going on. These bees, for some reason, are taking my pollen, but not actually changing. And this is where I made the discovery. Yes. There's actually only a 10% chance for it to actually convert. So this is where I'm having my issue. So time to put all of my bees back and, well, hope for at least 10 more of them. Looks like it's going to be a lengthy process to get our first initial pollen bees. And man, I tell you what, thank goodness for the time wand, because I couldn't imagine how long this would actually take for it to just passively generate. Like, that would take so long. Like, I am accelerating this significantly. This is like hours worth of time essentially passing for this, only to generate about 3 per 30 seconds of 128 times speed. So man, after accelerating this quite a bit, I now have about 13 of them in here, and so this will be enough. I do have a high productivity bee right here, so we can take this high productivity bee, and I think once we get this upgraded here, I'm just going to leave this one in, and I'm going to go ahead and just keep right clicking in hopes that it eventually changes. And there we go. So we got it on 3. Now look at that little cute guy. It's a cute little allergy bee there. Looks like a little snot booger. Yeah, that's exactly what he is right there, a little booger. And so we're going to take that, and I have a couple of other ones. I don't have any though. Man, I guess I could make more. The more the merrier, but I think once we have even one in here, it's going to generate a bit more, a lot quicker. So I did manage to get 2 more of these bees. I am going to go ahead and modify them a little bit, giving them a productivity of high on at least these 3, hoping that that's going to jumpstart this. So you can use 100% on here to guarantee a high productivity. Perfect. And then same for this one. Let's see, this one's already high, high, high. Okay, well, all of them are actually high. Perfect. I guess that solves that problem. So now I wonder how much faster are these bees? And also we are going to need leaves. Now the leaves that are in here don't actually matter. So they just have to have a leaf block in here for them to work. The leaves that they interact with though to pull the pollen from is going to be the leaves of the tree that this is near. So yeah, let's go ahead and toss this in. There's all of our allergy bees. And we're going to give this one a run, and let's see, what do these generate? Do they also still generate honey, or are they only going to generate pollen? Looks like just pollen, which that makes this so much nicer. Now, something I will say, it's a little hard for me to tell if it's better to have the entire thing filled with productivity upgrades and 1 pollen, or have the 3 pollen in here with 1 of the productivity. I really don't know. It does seem though, it does generate them pretty quickly when we use the time wand, which is going to make all of our other processes so much easier for getting the trees to be able to breed. So I guess while I have this up and running, might as well get our next sapling. So together we're trying to breed up the teak sapling, which needs dark oak and is also going to need a jungle sapling. So a little bit of bone meal, and we can grow this tree right here. And yeah, this will be a perfect place up here to place another advanced hive. I'm just going to do just like you would a normal like beehive, or you'd see them in the wild where they're kind of under the leaves. That's exactly what I'm kind of replicating here. And perfect. So that is underneath. Then we can use our slab down here. And yeah, I don't think that we can have the feeding slab directly underneath. You might be able to. I've actually never set that up. So I actually could try that over here. So after some testing, yeah, it doesn't seem like that actually works. So yes, this does have to be in that position where it is like a block in front. You can place another slab underneath and it gives you extra slots, which is something kind of cool that I found out recently. But yeah, we can have that placed just like so. And it's going to have to go in the front. As ugly as it is what it is. So now that I have a bit of pollen, I have about 18 of the dark oak over here. Apparently, what I should be able to do on the jungle leaves is I can right click this pollen, and this is now a pollinated leaf. I'm doing it by hand. And whenever I break this, I then get myself the sapling. It's supposed to be like 100% chance of granting you the combined sapling. So perfect. We now have teak, and we can now grow teak saplings. And I'm assuming that they're just going to drop the sapling, or at least I hope so. So bone meal. And it's literally that easy. Now I could use this to also get jungle pollination. I don't know if we're going to need that for anything in particular in this list. It doesn't look like it. It looks like we really just need dark oak as our main pollination ingredient, or you could have gone the other way and used the jungle pollinations to pollinate the dark oak. But yeah, it looks like we do need acacia and teak. So we're definitely going to need teak. So might as well get that grown up. And there we go. So now we're producing teak, and of course this has its own logs. And does it give you back saplings? Yes, it does. Perfect. So now we have a bunch of this, and all of these logs, by the way, have some really interesting textures. Like this right here is very interesting. Some of them are kind of like high res too. Like this is definitely kind of, I don't know, it gives off that really high res feel, but could look really good in builds. I've seen a lot of people take blocks like this and incorporate them in like crazy ways. I mean, I build a lot typically in like a vanilla style feel, but I've seen a lot of people take blocks like this and really like make something that's almost kind of hyper realistic looking from within Minecraft using these modded textures. Now, of course, this wood is far from the craziest. Oh, that stripped version is kind of nice. It's like a nice white wood. But yes, this is far from the craziest type of wood that exists in this mod. There's some that have some really wild animated textures. But anyways, enough of that. I think I'm going to actually take the hive off here since we don't really need it on this wood type. And I'm going to use it on the teak because teak seems to be something that we're going to need quite a bit of. So if I go ahead and place that there, we'll get all of this set up just like we had it on the other side. Now, I don't know about you, but I was pretty hesitant about getting into this mod, thinking it was going to be, well, a little bit more complicated than we're actually seeing here. And I'm kind of glad that I'm able to show this, so that way, hopefully, whenever you see that huge productive tree quest line, it doesn't overwhelm you like it did me, because that looks scary. But in reality, this is all we're doing. We're essentially going to be transferring our bees from one hive to another over here. So perfect. I'll put this one in, and then I can go ahead and jumpstart these bees, and these should be producing teak pollen. Look at that. And really, if you wanted to get super fancy with this, you could, I think, in theory, just take a shear and place the teak leaves directly on top of the hive, and you could have this anywhere, really. Oh man, and also don't forget about the cut paste gadget, because in reality, we could be doing this with just one hive. I could just be using the cut paste gadget to send it back to another tree location. Speaking of doing that, let's go ahead and grow ourselves an acacia sapling, and we need to mix this with this one. So yeah, I'll take some of that teak once I get this grown. So more bone meal. I should just keep that in my inventory, shouldn't I? Bone meal this. Will you grow in this location? I'm really hoping it does. Doesn't look like it's going to grow. Maybe if I move it one block forward. Will you grow? Oh my goodness. See, sometimes the growing conditions for these trees are just absolutely broken. If we had create, I could grow this tree regardless of its growing conditions. There we go. So now I've gotten that all broken down. So rebuild the wall. But anyways, without further ado, let's take one of our pollen, or all of them, I guess. And we can go ahead and just right click any of the blocks up here like that. And there we go. Another of the sapling, the balsa sapling, which is going to be required further on as we start to get into some of these other ones, like the cocobolo sapling, and also the, I'm almost certain this one's also pronounced kind of weird. Thinking it's either Wingu or Wingi. There's a couple of different ways that this can be pronounced. Wingay, there's all kinds of different ways that this sapling can be pronounced, but yeah, I'll just stick with probably Wingu. Either way, let's go ahead and place the new balsa sapling down. And can I grow this one? I can, and there we go. We now have ourselves a balsa tree. I do want to get more saplings though. So give me more saplings. Perfect. Now we have 4 of them. And the same setup. I think I'm actually going to use my cut paste just to kind of demonstrate that. And I should be able to pull the hive like directly off of this. I don't have any bees in here right now, but all the upgrades, everything, even if there were bees in it, it should be able to carry everything over there. So if we're in cut mode, we right click here like that and shift right click up here, and we get this cut, and then we cut it out of existence. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it actually won't cut the hive. So yeah, never mind. We cannot use the cut paste tool technically to cut the material over here. So yeah, probably not best to use the cut paste gadget. It doesn't seem like it's going to work. But anyways, I went ahead and moved this one over by hand. And so just simply transfer the bees over from here and transfer it into this one to get this one's pollination. Very nice. Now, thankfully, to be able to get our Socotra dragon sapling, we are going to need the cocobolo sapling. So to get the cocobolo sapling, we need to take our balsa sapling with dark oak, and we already have dark oak pollen. So if I look up the pollen here and I take my dark oak, we can just go ahead and do this right here on the balsa. There we go. It's pollinated. And there we go. We've already gotten ourselves another of the saplings that we're going to need to technically breed with this tree, right? Because the other one is the Wingu sapling that requires the cocobolo mixed with the balsa sapling. So once this generates some pollen, which is already done, we can then just put it onto this tree, and we're almost done with just the requirements anyways that are required for the star. And my goodness, that is a tall tree. Holy smokes. Now this cocobolo sapling, whew, this is an interesting looking log right here. And the planks on it, my goodness, those are like blood red. But that's not what we're after here today. We are after the breeding of the trees. So all the way up here, I will just pollinate this with the balsa. And voila, we now have ourselves the Wingu sapling. I can only imagine these trees becoming absolutely ridiculous at some point. That is a wild texture on this though. But there we go. So there's basically every tree needed except for one more tree. And that is to make the dragon sapling. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say Socotra. It's really hard. Now to make this, it's just the combination of the Wingu sapling and the cocobolo. And I'll just take all of these bees out of here, move them over into this one, and then we'll just combine it with that tree just like we did the other ones. And there we go. So we'll combine the Wingu with the Cocobolo once we get ourselves a little bit of pollen, and that's essentially it. Like I said, this whole process, right? It seemed a whole lot scarier at first than I originally thought, but it's really just the combination when you break it down of just these few saplings here. All right, let's take our sapling, or our pollen, I mean, and we'll go up here and exchange the pollinated, and voila, we now have ourselves the
Socotra.
Yeah, dragon sapling. I'm kind of curious, how does this sapling actually look? Huh. Interesting. I mean, it does have kind of a nice like palette. If we go ahead and break this down, ooh, that actually looks really nice whenever it's stripped. Oh, that is surprisingly good looking stripped. But like as its plank form, I mean, it is a nice orange color, I will say. But a lot of these textures do have very, very noticeable like repeating textures. So if you have a large scale version of this and you start to scale it up, you will notice the repeating patterns really, really strongly. Like for example, this has a dark spot that is in every single one of the planks. And you notice those patterns really repeat the bigger the size you make these things. But yeah, anyways, there's a lot of other cool saplings that we could definitely make. I wonder though, how hard would it be to get some of these other saplings? Yeah, honestly, not that hard at all. Considering that we already have pollen production up and running, we just need to travel to the queen bee. Yeah, if you remember correctly, the queen bee in the Bumble Zone can do trades, and actually trades you with pollen. So if we pop on in here and we join the bee, we can right click the pollen onto the bee, and the bee is going to give us a few different things. As of right now, sawdust. But there is a chance, a small chance, of actually getting some really cool saplings. For example, this is the brown amber sapling. And to make some of the really cool saplings, like the time sapling, for example, that allows us to make time wood, time traveler sapling, like it just requires the blue yonder sapling, which is something we get from this bee, and then like just breeding these ones together that we get from the bee. So yeah, the progression to get some really cool blocks, not that hard, just essentially we need more pollen. So after leaving the queen bee, after doing a bit more trading with the pollen, I think I have enough now to be able to make like the time bee, which is going to be pretty cool. Now the blue wander sapling on its own looks really cool. So let's get some dirt. Eventually though, I think what I'm going to want to do is I want to have like 2 time trees right here. I think those are going to look really, really cool. So these areas are going to work really nice for these trees. But this is a blue wander. And then I'm also going to need the flickering sun sapling as well. These are both ones that you get from the bee trade. So we'll grow that. Look how wild these are. They also have like special particle effects and everything. And there's that one. Wow. Okay, yeah, this is where the animated texture trees really start to come into play. The logs are textured as well, and I'm almost positive the stripped versions of these logs also look different. That is a really pretty blue. Now, looking at all of the different recipes that this ends up making, we need to make a rippling widow sapling, which requires that flickering sun and the blue yonder. And then to move on into the time traveler's tree, we also need the blue yonder. So this is the actual one that I want the pollen from. So that way I can, for example, use this on here, pollinate it, and gather myself the rippling willow. If I go ahead and grow this one over here for right now, that's an interesting tree, but not one that I want in here. I can also use this pollen on here, like that. And that's going to grant me the time traveler sapling. So yes, pretty straightforward once you have the infrastructure up to get some really wild trees. Like this tree in particular is really cool. And whenever you strip it, that's where you get some really, really ridiculous textures. And then of course, these will break into all of their saplings. which I definitely want. Now, I'm still missing one other trait. It's like a soul sapling, and then we can actually make all of the animated textures. I do already have a firecracker sapling. I must have gotten this from a quest or something. This is also another wild looking tree, but it's also going to take the pollen from the blue yonder. Everything like combines with that blue yonder tree. Oh my goodness. And there we go. This grants us a purple spiral sapling. Wow, man, once you start progressing in this, it's like everything really just starts popping off. Like you get so much. I'm kind of curious, what does the purple spiral sapling look like? Ooh, wait, did they just drop a bunny? No way, these, where did a bunny rabbit come from? It just, that was 100% a bunny. What? Okay, anyways. Yeah, that looks really cool as well. And I wonder what the strip variant looks like. Just a really bright purple block. Very cool. That sapling has to spawn bunnies because there's a bunny right here. Ah, interesting. So I was noticing in the quest here, it says that these base saplings, by the way, the tree that you see here that have all animated textures, it does look like these have special places they can be found. For example, in bastions, and you can also find them in in-cities. Looks like the in-cities is the place that I didn't actually loot a lot of in-cities, so probably a reason why I don't have them. This one's like ancient cities, shipwrecks. Like there's all kinds of places you can find them. Of course, trading with the bee is something that I'm doing right now, but if you were out searching, you can probably just find them without even needing anything. But keep in mind, these trees are actually not tied to anything that you need to do production-wise in order to make the one for the ATM star, the sapling you need here. I mean, and I think now we have plenty of the Socotra saplings. Like 20 of them is more than we'll probably ever need. And just to kind of look at this here, it is used in the dragon soul. So I guess that makes sense. It's the dragon sapling, dragon soul. Yeah, but perfect. After a little bit more negotiating with the queen bee, bam, there is the soul sapling that we need. A little bit of bone meal. Is it going to be enough? No. Bone meal. There we go. And that is a tree, all right. Oh my goodness. That is something. Wait, where are these rabbits coming from? Oh, is this? No, this isn't. Okay. They're probably coming from here. Oh, I thought these trees were like spawning rabbits or something. But that is an interesting texture on this log. These are the top parts of the log. What's this look like stripped? Oh, that's that's something else. Okay, but I think as well, this just needs a pollen from here, if I remember correctly. When we break this, we get ourselves a water wonder sapling. And then, yeah, I'll go ahead and break this tree down. And the water wonder sapling is actually really cool. Like just looking at its logs in JEI, this one's the one that seems really, really neat. If we go ahead and get that one spawned in, oh goodness. Yeah, so these logs right here on the top look like water. So like, I guess if you filled the whole area with these, let's just assume that they were placed correctly. You filled an area like this. I guess you can see the textures through the sides unlike regular water, but this has a really cool feature like this. Look at that. It's like a little fishy, oh man, like a little fish tank. That's kind of neat. But yeah, don't know how I would use this in a build, but yeah, like if there was multiple that like allowed you to have like a long string, for example, or they were randomized, that would be a little bit cooler. Having them tiled like this, I really don't know how I'd use it, but still a cool block nonetheless. And also the leaves on this, that is trippy looking when you look inside here. Wow. Okay, now this is interesting. I went to move this tree, but realized there's actually these fruit leaves. I'm not quite sure what these do. Like if I break them, nothing happens. If I try to grow them, is this actually going to grow like some sort of fruit off of these leaves? I didn't even know this was a thing. Even whenever you search Blue Yonder inside of JEI, you don't actually get anything related to this. Like this right here, Blue Yonder fruiting leaves. I wonder if I break this one. There's a little stem there. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting anything from them. but still kind of interesting that that's even a thing. Now, there are still a few more trees that I could technically breed up. So I got some pollen from the soul tree. This one's a black ember, and this will grant us a cave dweller sapling. Very cool. And then that cave dweller sapling, which looks like this, very, very dark, it can also be bred with that soul tree. And this produces the foggy sapling. And then the foggy sapling is just absolutely ridiculous looking. It's another transparent tree where the entire tree is the same texture. Oh no. Okay, what does the stripped version look like? It's exactly the same, just rotating in a different direction. Then we also have the foggy mixed with the rippling willow. Okay. And that gives us another type of sapling, the Slimy Delight. Is that what that is? Slimy Delight sapling. And let me guess, this one is going to be really cursed as well. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ooh, I really like these green blocks, though. What happens, though, when we strip this log? Huh. Oh, that's actually not a bad green texture either. Also, I'm pretty sure the leaves on that just dropped some slime balls, so something to note there as well. And then another interesting combo is going to be the Firecracker mixed with the the flickering sun. So this grants us another one, which is a thunderbolt sapling. And I'm gonna guess, what's the thunderbolt sapling gonna do? It's probably gonna be pretty wild too, I bet. Let's see, what textures is this gonna offer? Okay, yeah, it's just like the other one, just like the firing sun, except these textures are ridiculously cool. Okay. That could have some use, but there we go. Now on the firecracker leaves, I think if we mix the soul with it, yes, we get another sapling. This is the sparkle cherry sapling, and that tree is going to be the most tame I have seen thus far. It actually looks really good. This honestly feels so broken, but I am using the leaf, like I said, right on top of here, and it is generating those cherry leaves. And so I can use this to breed with another tree. And that tree is the purple spiral tree. So we've already grown this one. This is growing bunnies. Look at that. These logs are 100. There are, but yeah, this tree spawns bunnies. The 100% confirmed. I just watched it happen. Okay, so we breed this, and this will get us our last one in the pyramid of trees, essentially, into the tree of trees. This whole section right here of all these animated textures. This right here, the night. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna say fuchsia, fuchsia sapling. I'm not saying that's so bad. All right, anyways, but yes, let's go ahead and break down this this tree, which is just rapidly spawning bunnies. Very interesting, that mechanic. And yeah, let's see what this sapling looks like. This is the last one in the tree of trees. Wow, that is something. That is something. It's got like markers all over it, like buds of flowers. Oh, and that rotates it. Oh wait, and that's animated, right? That looked like it moved. 100% that moved. Unless I'm seeing things. Oh no, it moves. Okay, yeah, the whole thing is textured. Very, very cool. But that right there, my friends, was the productive tree mod. Kind of cool. I've never gotten into this mod before. I've never really used it or taken the time to use it. But I will say, this has been a rather fun experience, especially since I already had the productive bees set up to make this whole process a lot easier. So guys, let me know, what do you think about this mod in the comments down below? And also, don't forget, it is World Download Day. You get access to this world in its current state that you see right here. And you get access to it if you're a supporter of any tier, no matter what platform you're supporting me on. And thank all of you guys, by the way. Thank you so much for all of the support. You actually make these videos possible, whether you would like to believe that or not. It really does make these videos possible to extend the series out further than like 30 episodes. So just keep that in mind, and thank you so very much. So guys, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and well, give this video a huge thumbs up. And of course, guys, with that being said, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to none other than Dog Soul. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible and gaining access to the world download. Guys, I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.